Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Kaylin and we are back with another video. This video is the first video of our In Your Feelings series, okay? I'm doing this new thing where we're gonna do series so that I can kind of have like a topic or like theme for the next couple of videos that are gonna come out on Thursdays. So I decided to do this series because I want to touch on some topics that are really real, things that we all go through and probably just haven't voiced or talked to, or even if you have talked about it, it's some things that like you have to work through. So I wanted to touch on this. So today we are talking about relational intelligence, and y'all know that I'm your girl when it comes to finding books, especially Christian books, okay? I'm your girl. I read them all. I love it. I read so many, I have so many that I still need to read. So every video will have to do with a Christian book. Today's video is all about Dr. Dharius Daniel's book called Relational Intelligence. This book is so helpful, it's so real, it's so raw, it's so true. So I wanted to go through what you could expect if you were to read this book and how it could help you. So that's kind of what these videos will be about. And then it'll just spark like some discussion that we could have down below as well. So for anything, you want to have definitions and what do things mean? So what is relational intelligence? He defines it as the ability to discern if someone should be a part of our lives and what place they should occupy, then align them accordingly. So I felt like this topic, and excuse me as I look at my notes because it's a lot of notes. I felt like this topic was perfect for like our day and age. I'm currently at like a new transitioning point as being a mom. You know, I'm kind of settled into my career, but I can remember like graduating college and dealing with like the transition of relationships that you're no longer around like your friends 24/7. You don't have access to them as easily. It's hard to hang out. Like even now with friends, it's hard to get everybody's schedules together. Most of my friends are nurses, so our schedules are all over the place. So there's different transitions in life that your relationships could be a little difficult, and that goes the same with like marriage, the same with dating. You could have like long distance as an introduction to a relationship that can cause, you know, some issues. You could have just some marriage issues going on. You could have family issues. Any kind of relationship. This is not just on like romantic relationships. We're talking friendships, family, co-workers, all that kind of stuff. So I felt like all the transitions in life kind of hit us, and adulting, as we say, and it's just not, you know, no one warned us. No one warned us, okay? So this book just makes you kind of step back and look at your relationships. Are they healthy? So another thing that I feel like a lot of people can relate to is in this day and age, a lot of people are chasing like followers, and you know, like that builds them up. But just like I'm sure you probably had conversations with people about like famous people, like you have all these people that look up to you or talk to you that are around, or even just a normal person. You could have a group of people that are around you that are your friends and feel lonely, and like that's a problem, because why do you feel lonely with all these people? So it's now we have to take a dive into these relationships and figure out what's going on. Why do you feel lonely when you're surrounded by these people that you are calling your friend? He just points out that relationships are supposed to be these intimate connections. God did not make us to be alone. He created us to have community and to be with one another and have those relationships that are meaningful and purposeful and drive each person in the relationship further and closer to who they are created to be. I read this book a few years ago, and I'm just going to break it down to you just how he has it. I'm not telling you everything that's all in the book, but just a breakdown so you can kind of get a gist of if this is something that you would like to read. But I encourage everyone to read it no matter what. Let's talk about the book. It's divided into 4 parts. The first part is about defining your relationships. So he gives 4 categories: friends, associates, assignments, and then advisors. So friends, he mentions, it's a word that we use loosely. We give it to people who haven't even earned it. And like right there, it's like the first chapter, I'm like, well, dag, you're coming for our throat. So he mentions that they should be covenantal, not transactional. Friend is not someone who just comes to you and you just keep giving, or taking. It should not be transactional. You should be able to be your authentic self with them. They should help you grow and become better and help you carry out your calling or push you towards fulfilling or like reaching your calling. or purpose. Associate. Now, this is a group of people who you have periodic or consistent association with. The connection is surface level. So these are people that you don't connect to on a personal, deeper level. When I think of this, it comes to mind, which is not everyone, because some people's coworkers are their friends, but just like coworkers that you just see and have relationships with at work, or classmates at school that you don't really talk to, but like you talk to because you're in the same environment. Like that's kind of like what an associate would be. Anyone that is just like a surface level type relationship. Number 3 was assignment. So that's a trainee, a mentee, an advisee, someone you provide mentorship, guidance, training, or coaching to. This is someone that you may be assigned to help in a certain situation or a certain time in their lives. And he pointed out that that person will get the lesson without the pain. So like you kind of can help them, mentor and guide them through life, so maybe they don't make the same mistakes you did or go down the same routes. This person is someone that you're pouring into and you're guiding and mentoring. And then the last one is advisors, which does the opposite. Those are people who do the mentoring and guiding for us. We're receiving from them, and that's a different category of a relationship. So then the next part goes into discerning relationships. So we have to ask ourselves, who's in our lives, what category are they in, and should they be in that category? And in the back of the book, he does give you like areas where you can write in stuff, and it actually has you like write out all the people and you put them in what category they should be in. So this part breaks down into 4 different sections: reflection, evaluation, clarification, and acceptance. So reflection is where you're going to think about your relationships that you currently have. What are you feeling, thinking, and seeing in them? This creates like the opportunity for you to be honest with yourself and really see and think about. I think a lot of times we don't sit down and just like take time to do things like this. That's why journaling is really good. But sometimes you have to just sit and really think about things, like the people who are in your lives. Think about your relationships, your interactions with them, all that. So then the next part is evaluation, which he talks about fruit inspection, which is inspecting the fruit of your circle. Does your circle have good fruit or bad fruit? Is it more positive? Is it negative? This is evaluating your personal experiences with an individual and determining what that means and says to you. He mentions that sometimes we give space and grace to those who don't demonstrate the fruit you need, and it's important to know that your needs may change as the seasons change. You might not need the same things in one season. As you're growing, evolving, going through certain things, your needs will very much probably change. So knowing that's okay, that just comes with the seasons. It's not that some people are bad people. They may just be bad for you. He talks about evaluating ourselves. Where are you emotionally, spiritually, physically? What do you need? What type of person? What are you looking for? What do I have? How are they contributing to your life? And then the last part is, what do I need to do? Do you need to realign this person? Do you need to remove them? Or do you need to find someone new? So evaluating yourself puts you in a place to figure out what you need so that you can figure out who you need. And where you're going depends on who you take with you, if that makes sense. And he goes into great detail about the evaluation part. Clarification is the next one. You have to designate those in your lives. And he uses Jesus as the example. Jesus has a wide number of disciples, but he has his 12 disciples that we hear the most about. Then he has his main 3, Peter, James, and John. He's designated positions for them. He talked about how the 3, Peter, James, and John, experienced Jesus at his highest moments and his lowest. But not everyone got to experience him in both ways like they did. So it's showing us that we have to have relationships with people whose character reveals that they are safe enough to handle us at our highest and when we are at our lowest. And I think that that's very important. I see so many things on Instagram that are like, it's one thing to have friends like when you're partying or like going out, like you have a whole bunch of people who are around you and things are good, looking up, you guys are you getting it, like, what's up, we going out tonight, everybody's around. But when you're really going through something and you need people, you're looking for support, it's those people that are there for you that are the real ones, or the ones that you should have closer to you in your inner circle. So like your chosen 3 or how many ever it is. And he just shows great examples of how Jesus did this. Then the last one is acceptance, and he starts it off with the Maya Angelou quote, "When people show you who they are, believe them." And he talks about how our emotional attachment to others blind us to the reality of where they are in life and whether it's safe for us to be in a relationship with them. We have to learn how to resist the urge to rationalize someone's behavior when their fruit changes. So a lot of times you make excuses for people. People do it in relationships, like when they're in like toxic relationships, friendships, like you love that person so much, you have this long relationship with them, so you just keep making excuses. And if they keep repeating the same patterns, it's like you kind of got to accept that things probably aren't going to change even though you want them to. So he mentions that this is very difficult and one of people's greatest challenges. And I really liked reading this one because it's true. Like, you want to think the best and expect the best of people, but sometimes it's just, sadly, we just have to accept and stop being in denial and just accept it and try to move forward as best as we can. So then the third part of the book is about aligning your relationships. So this is our responsibility to put people in their correct category. No one else can do that. It's only us. And then there's 4 parts of this one. So advocation, conversation, limitations, and elimination. So advocation is discussing that we have to advocate for ourselves because it's important. Like, you're the only one who knows how things affect you and what you want and what you deserve. Like, you're valuable. You're a valuable person as a friend, and doing this is stewardship, he mentions, not selfish. And a lot of times I think that people can see it as selfish, but it's not. It's the same thing like with boundaries. It's not selfish to have boundaries. They help protect us, which is what we're going to talk about later on. So then the second part is conversation, and he talks about how to initiate the conversations with people in order to shift the relationship. He discusses in detail, and then he discusses how to handle what happens after that conversation, whether it be good or bad. We just never know how people react to things, so he discusses very well how to handle what might happen after. Limitations is the next one, and this is where he was talking about boundaries and how boundaries protect us from the impact of that person's actions. It's not rude to have boundaries. Everyone needs to have boundaries. They literally help you, and it's hard, and it's something that it takes time to work through. And honestly, something that I'm still working on, because you just want to be there for everyone. You want everyone to have access to you, but you don't want, I feel like for me, I don't want people to think that I'm mean or like I'm brushing them off or anything like that. Like, I don't want people to think that way. But you have to realize, like, when things start to affect you and like your mental health and your wellness and your growth and just your state of mind, that is just not healthy for you, and it might be time to set boundaries to prevent this from happening and making you feel the way that it does. So then he mentions elimination, which is the next part, and he says that some people can be repositioned, some people have to be removed. Some relationships are only for a season, and some relationships have to end. And then he says when eliminating, there's 3 things to do, and he calls them the 3 P's, and it's pray, plan, and perform, and he expounds on each one of those. And I thought that explanation was really good, because it could be tough eliminating people, especially if you're trying to do it like the correct way or like the healthy way, where it's not just like you ghost someone and don't talk to them, but because it's sticky. It's like you never want to. I think the hardest thing about adulting, and like I've had so many conversations with people, is just like everyone's not meant to go everywhere with you. It's literally, some relationships are only for a season, and that is so tough, because you build these memories, you build these relationships and connections with people, and then like they can't stick with you forever. It sucks. So, having this book really helps guide and like explain things that make sense, and makes it so that it's for everyone's best interest, but most importantly for yours, so that you don't have to deal with like the frustrations and everything that comes along with being in unhealthy, like toxic, dysfunctional relationships. So the last part of the book is talking about assessing your relationships. He says we must remember to assess ourselves to ensure we are the person that we desire to attract. So he wants you to ask yourself, what kind of friend are you? And I think that that's big. I think that a lot of times it's very easy to point at the other person or people on what they're not doing, what they're not giving, but what are you doing? Like, are you being self-aware of maybe some of the tendencies or habits that you may have and you may have brought into the relationship? A relationship is between two people. It's not just one person's fault. So I think that it's very important to realize that sometimes we have to look within and see if we're that person that we're looking for. If you're asking for all these things from a person for a relationship that's romantic, what are you bringing? Like, don't just make all these demands and everything like that. I went to the Women Evolve conference and there was a discussion about this in the men's panel that they had, and it was just like talking about like this generation of dating and how people are, and I see it in like the women, but I do see it in men too, but don't like jump at me or be like, you know, just stating kind of how it is, how my view is. I'm married. I don't know how it is to be dating right now. I don't want to know. But from what you see on like social media, it's like the women want the men to do everything. He has to have all this, be this way, have that, like pay for this. I don't have to do anything. No, you have to do stuff. To have a healthy relationship, it's a partnership. It's, as he mentioned, covenantal. It takes two. You can't just put it all these expectations and demands on one person and you not be doing anything. So that's a little tidbit. Probably, you know, get some backlash for that, because some people really are out here like, he needs to be doing all this and this and this and this and this, and it's like, so what are you bringing to the relationship? I'm just confused why you don't want to do anything. And I don't know, it's just very like a very scary time, and it's for men too, so don't just think I'm coming for women, because I'm not. Anyway, then he talks about being honest with yourself in any areas that you may need to work on, which we mentioned, and then having the self-awareness to do all those things. So this book I highly recommend. It is so good. It's blessed me, and there's a lot of things that tie into other books that I read, so I'm excited for this series. If there's anything that you want to talk about or you want me to do a video on in regards to like feelings or anything, let me know. I have a couple things lined up already, so just drop comments down below if there's any kind of topics that you want to talk about. And if I have a book about it, you know, I'm definitely going to be able to do it. So, or I'll find one. Okay, so just let me know, because I'm your girly when it comes to books. Y'all already know this, and if you don't know, now you know. So thank you guys for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I will leave the link down below for this book, and then I will also link his YouTube channel down below, because he has a playlist based on relational intelligence. He talks through like points of his book. He has other sermons and videos all about relational intelligence, relationships, types of people you want to be in relationships with, like all that kind of stuff. So I will leave all that down below so that you can check that stuff out. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.